What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video. It's your boy, Critical Thought, and we back with another video. We got a special video we want to go ahead and talk about today. We got a special video we want to talk about regarding just going back over the podcast. The podcast that we've been sort of doing, started getting involved with over the past few days, or just getting back into the podcast that we just kind of been off. So let's go ahead and get right into it. In terms of critical thought, visual training. In terms of like what we've been doing, we've been talking a lot of visual training. We've been talking a lot about how that sort of regulates your visual, trying to regulate your body, or sort of bring your body back down to a state of homeostasis. That way you can transition to another workout or another exercise in the training regime. The different methods of being able to do that. One of them being, just your ability to sort of, your ability to just have a cool down, right? Cool down, right? This is one of the transitions and stuff like, stretching, in terms of like using resistance bands to sort of like stretch out your body and your muscles and like, stuff like that, to really just, cool down everything you just did. That's one method of sort of a peripheral nervous system, or like a body cool down, right? I said that's a cool down for your peripheral nervous system, because cooling down here is, it's almost like you're cooling down from physical activity or peripheral nervous system based activity, right? In sort of movement or activity or action, right? So, and cooling down from here, would require physical cool downs. Physical cool downs, some of them being, like the resistance bands, or some of them being inactive cool downs, right? Or in workout cool downs, being on a treadmill, walking the last 8 minutes of a 45-minute run, or on a bike, sort of pedaling softer, or like pedaling straight, like having a straight straight hill, pedaling for the last 3 minutes, right, of a 48-minute bike or whatever, or vice versa. Those are just examples. And then going on a jog, right? If you're jogging for an extended period of time, after you finish your jog, walk for the next sum of time, right? Walk, and that will be sort of a body regulator, something that regulates your body back to a state of homeostasis, or back to a state of normalcy, or regular functioning, right? Starting to sort of gradually decrease, or your heart rate, bring your heart rate back down, your blood levels, and that sort of thing all start to come down. Now this is the same thing, but the last thing is from intense workouts, maybe even just playing basketball, right, is another example, because you can easily just play basketball, run fives, or threes, and just be in a high intensity game from running fives, and high intensity competitive game with maximum energy, and then coming down from that, right? And coming down from this, right? Sometimes like there's a mental aspect of coming down from exercises as well. Well, I would like to call them central nervous system cool downs because which is a little bit different than peripheral nervous system cool downs, and it's just cooling down your cognition, your central nervous system, right? Because peripheral nervous system cool downs, we said, is something that's in body. But central nervous system cool downs is something that's more mental, right? And it's just like visuals and like what you sort of see, right? And being able to come down from cognition, in a cognitive sense, from being in a high intensity environment where you have to conceptualize all this information and you're overloading your mind at an extremely high clip, in rate, that sort of thing. And then, now you have to transition to another outlet or another environment. How do you bring down or come down how do you bring down your mind or your central nervous system so that you may perform in the next outlet, right? And it's a two-way street because it's like when you cool down, the central nervous system, your body might be still extremely hyperactive and crazy, if you don't do peripheral nervous system cool downs. Peripheral nervous system cool downs being like using the stretch band to cool down your body, sort of get your body in a more state, in a closer state to homeostasis. And then, being able to cool down your mind and cool down your central nervous system so that it may come down to a more, conformed state of homeostasis gradually, not forcefully, but gradually. Let it gradually come down to a calmer state of homeostasis. And, utilizing, the different methods of doing that being visuals, visuals being one of the things, that you use or could you, to sort of bring that back down, eye movement, to bring down the conceptualization, and help the transition process from one outlet to the next. Maybe even visuals as in like, okay, so we're going here, we're going to be in this environment. Let us be able to see the visuals of what that environment is so that we can help better align ourselves with what we're going to get into. That's a one method of visuals. And then conceptualization, understanding, okay, so what are the key details of what we're doing? And let's be able to just sit on that for a second, right? And if we can sort of sit on these details, this will help us better be able to gradually come down our mind or bring down our mind to a more, maybe, either a closer state of homeostasis, as well as, or more so, what the environment that we're getting into next, right? So that's the key thing. That's the important thing. And sort of your ability to be able to do this is going to be sort of the biggest changer in terms of like productivity in trying to, conjure or sort of just, manage a bunch of things, right? Or sort of just indulging or sort of, indulging in a bunch of different things and, trying to be able to bring those things about, right? And perform there, from one outlet to the next. So that's important, and, the visual aspect of making those transitions is very important. And, these are some things, to create training regimes, right? And, in creating training regimes and being able to, create a blueprint or plan or, in terms of training regimes, this is something that you can use, right? Or something to take note of and understand when transitioning from different workouts and, in creating training regimes. And the other thing is, I think the important thing. The other important is cognition, and being able to sort of have cognition and in terms of like understanding the outlet and just visual awareness and sort of conscious awareness and unconscious awareness in terms of just like what the process is going to be. That way you can sort of make that transition in terms of, maneuvering yourself to be able to, perform and be able to properly be able to articulate and sort of, articulate and, express in that outlet, right? And in that in that next space. So without further ado, I think we're going to conclude this video right here. I think we touched on all the points that we needed to touch in this video. This is pretty good video. So we're talking about visuals, and things like that. So peace, love, and yeah, we got this joint.